Your Heritage by Bertrand L. Comparet. Introduction. Much is heard in this day of the word anti-Semitic. The word is a creation of the modern Pharisees, who are anti-Christian. The purpose of the creation was to smear or blacken the name or reputation of Christians seeking to protect and defend their faith from the onslaughts of those who would destroy it. The word Semitic is derived from the patriarch Shem and is correctly applied to people descendant from him. All true Israelites, not Jews as this booklet shows, are therefore Semites. And today, these are the great white Christian nations of the Western world. The Jews, as the second half of this booklet shows, are not Semitic at all, as their Canaanite and Khazar ancestors were not descendants of Shem. Their smear accusation, anti-Semitic, against all who oppose Jewish seizure of Palestine is therefore false. Indeed, the Arabs, who are half-Semitic, can truthfully accuse the Jews of anti-Semitism. The fact is quite obvious. It has been said that communism seeks to make black white and white black. The word anti-Semitic is just one example of such misuse and intended opposite meaning, in an effort to attach an ill-sounding term which should be self-applied to him or them who are actually quite the opposite in viewpoint. It is one purpose of this booklet to bring the reader accurate biblical and historic proof of the error applied in the use of the term anti-Semitic. It is hoped that much confusion, purposely created as camouflage, will be clarified in the minds of Christians by the careful reading and study of the material so excellently presented by the author. Israel's fingerprints. The Bible is written about and addressed to God's people, Israel. It is the history of their past, the prophecy of their future, the law of their relation to their God, and the promise of God's eternal care of them. The common misconception that the Jews are Israel, or all that remains of them, has made the Bible meaningless, and most of it apparently false to those who hold this mistaken belief. It is just as though you took a good history of the United States, but wherever the name United States appeared therein, you erased it and wrote China in its place. As a history of China, it would obviously be false, but if you applied it to the right nation, it would clearly be true. The Bible's history of Israel's past is known to be accurate, and its prophecies of Israel's future have been fulfilled in every detail down to the present day. When the police have the fingerprints of a wanted man, they know that the man whose fingerprints match those they have is the man they seek. Likewise, when we find the people to whom God has fulfilled all of his promises and prophecies to Israel, we have found Israel. Today, the Anglo-Saxon, Scandinavian, and the Germanic nations have Israel's fingerprints in every detail. When we realize that we are Israel, the Bible becomes full of meaning for us. It is our history. It contains God's promises to us. It gives us courage to face the terrible upheaval into which all the world is being drawn. If you will only read the Bible with an open mind, taking no man's word for it, but proving for yourself what the Bible says, then comparing that with what you know of present-day history, you will see that we are God's people Israel, and that, however terrible the trial ahead, we will be brought safely through it when we turn to God. First, let us briefly review the ancient history of Israel. God first made his promises of wonderful blessings to Abram, changing his name to Abraham, meaning father of nations. Note that this is in the plural, nations. God repeated his promises to Abraham's son Isaac, and again to Isaac's son Jacob, whose name God changed to Israel, which means he will rule with God. Israel had 12 sons. The descendants of each son became in time a tribe under its ancestor's name. Thus, all the descendants of Dan became the tribe of Dan. All the descendants of Benjamin became the tribe of Benjamin, etc. For many centuries, all members of all the 12 tribes collectively were known as the children, that is, descendants of Israel. However, do not confuse this with the later house or kingdom of Israel, about which I will have more to say later. Israel and his 12 sons, with their families, went into Egypt, as you will remember, and after about 2.5 centuries, their descendants left Egypt in the Exodus under the leadership of Moses. For several generations, they were ruled by judges appointed by God. Later, they unwisely copied the customs of the surrounding nations and demanded a king. So Saul became their first king, ruling the 12 tribes as a single nation. This unified nation of 12 tribes, like the United States of 50 states, continued until the death of Solomon in 975 BC, when it broke into two nations, Israel and Judah. 1 Kings 11:12 tell us how Solomon finally fell into idolatry, misgoverned the people, and burdened them with excessive taxes. When his son Rehoboam succeeded Solomon as king in 975 BC, the weary people petitioned him to ease their burdens, but being vain and arrogant, and surrounded by a lot of quote-unquote bright young Jewish advisors, he threatened to make their load heavier. The exasperated people of the 10 northern tribes revolted and set up their own independent kingdom under Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, which is told in detail in 1 Kings chapter 11 and 12 and 2 Chronicles 10 and 11. Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, had left in his kingdom only the 2 southern tribes, Judah and Benjamin, with some of the Levites who were priests, and this southern kingdom was never thereafter known as Israel, but only as the house or kingdom of Judah. The northern 10-tribed kingdom was thereafter called the house or kingdom of Israel, just as the southern kingdom, Judah, took its name from the tribe of Judah, which was the ruling tribe. So also the northern kingdom of Israel was sometimes called Ephraim in the prophecies, because the tribe of Ephraim was the most powerful tribe in it. The histories and destinies of the two kingdoms were thereafter separate. They engaged separately in foreign wars and treaties, and were sometimes at war with each other, as the Book of Kings and Chronicles record. From the time of this separation, 975 BC, the Bible became very carefully distinguished between the southern 2-tribed nation of Judah and the northern 10-tribed nation of Israel. This distinction is kept clear both in the historical record of what is past and the prophetic record of what is to come. It would take another volume to cover them all, but for a few examples, see the following. The distinction is made historically in the 2 Samuel 19 to 40-43, 1 Kings 14 to 19-21, and 15 to 1-33, and 16b. 2 Kings 3 to 1-9, 2 Chronicles 16 to 1, and 25 to 5-10, and many others. The distinction is kept clear in prophecies in Isaiah 7 to 1, 9, and 11 to 12, 13, Jeremiah 3 to 6, 18, and 5 to 11, and 5 to 10, 17, and 13 to 11, and 18 to 1, 6, and 19 to 1, 13. Ezekiel 37 to 16, 22, Daniel 9 to 7, Hosea 1 to 11, and 4 to 15, and 5 to 9, 15, Amos 1 to 1, Micah 1 to 5, Zechariah 8 to 13, and 10 to 6, 8, and many others. Just as we must carefully distinguish between the two nations of Israel and Judah, so also we must carefully distinguish between the nation of Judah and the Jews.